Well, welcome everyone. This is Debbie Mayberry with NKBA. You're here for our Designing with Surfaces, our third webinar of the month, generously sponsored by Kohler. This session is called Augmented Reality for the Home Improvement Industry with David Pollack. He's the CEO of Merari. And David, we're ready to get started.
Okay, good morning and good afternoon to some of you. This is David Pollack. I'm situated in the Detroit area, and today we're going to go into augmented reality for the home improvement industry. So I'm going to introduction on what Merari is. We're extended reality solutions, and what Rory talked about in that video was extended reality. It encompasses augmented reality, mixed reality, which is where you wear smart glasses, and then virtual reality. So we're going to get into a high level of the discussion. It's probably a little different from the typical webinars that have been done for NKBA, but I think it's important to understand the opportunities to use visualization in sales and marketing in this area. Again, my name is David Pollack. Here's my information on the screen. The main things that we do is we optimize 3D data, so CAD data, computer-aided design, or BIM data, building information, manufacturing data, and bring that into interactive activations. So typically we work with brands and agencies, and now we're really heavily going into extended reality applications. Traditionally, our background had been in automotive and aviation. A couple of years ago, we started working with companies like Overstock and GE Appliances, and that's why I'm really interested in exploring more opportunities with NKBA. I've attended KBIS in the past. I attended my first covering show this past summer, or this past spring. So I'm really getting a good information on the needs in the industry. So when we talk about how we got started into more the consumer products industry, we started working with Overstock 3 years ago. And because Overstock does not own any of their data, their products, they have to digitize these products. And so they chose a number of studios to take their data and start turning it into 3D information, so you could create these renderings that you see here on the screen, and eventually being used for 3D configurators. It could be used for augmented reality, which you were seeing with IKEA and others. But that's kind of the baseline of where we got started more into the consumer side of the business. What we're going to do, and these polling questions are going to come up at the end, but I wanted you to think about as we go through this presentation and explore primarily augmented reality. One is, have you or your company implemented new technology in your trade or business? So think about this. That's important for technology and keeping up with this generation that's been growing up on games and 3D content. Have you used any of the brands for apps, websites, kiosks? There's some really good content that these brands are putting out there. So it would be good to get a poll on if you're using those within your sales or business process. And then, have they helped you improve your clients' decision process? Has it accelerated this visualization? So think about those. Deb's going to roll those at the end so we can take a look at that, and then we can look at Q&A. So what we're going to do is look at media types. It's an introduction. So 360 media. Most of you you're probably familiar with what you're doing on Facebook and creating your own photos in 360 or video. Okay, that's different from extended reality, which is the umbrella term for augmented, mixed, and virtual. So these are tools that you're probably really familiar with. I pulled some things. Let me pull this up here, go full screen. So Shaw Floors, for example, you're probably using some of these tools. Let me speed this up. It looks like I'm getting a little latency. I apologize. Okay, so these tools that Shaw Floors, for example, if you go into their website, they've made 360 content of everything. And let me go back here for 1 second. Whenever you see this little goggles in the corner of a website, that means you can put mixed reality or glasses on, a stereoscopic view. So when I clicked on that, it went into a 2D view. So you can see it in more immersive real time. So this isn't real time. This is just a 360 video that has been put out there, and it's on their site. So many of you will probably use this. PPG have used an application, really intuitive. You select your colors, you can color anything, your cabinets, your walls. So these tools are really the precursor to what's happening with augmented reality. So you're probably using many of these tools already in your business or in your configurations. These are investments that these big brands are really going to really seed the market for more interactive content, okay? So when we look at the real world in which we live in, we just touched on 360s. We're going to explore extended reality. The introduction to that is augmented reality. Then you go to mixed reality, where you're using smart glasses from Microsoft HoloLens, or companies like Magic Leap you may have heard of. And then full virtual reality, that you're in a completely enclosed environment. This is just more information to get you more information on a completely digital environment immersion, augmented reality, which we're going to focus on today, and then merged or mixed reality, where it's hands-free. You're using these new smart glasses that are coming out that, they say Apple's going to have their mixed reality glasses in 2020. Okay, so traditionally, so these are projects that we've done, in the configuration space. Why people are moving more to 3D is because it's more engaging, informative, it's more intuitive, and it's more useful. So when it's more engaging, you see like a higher production value, more interactivity. Basically, it's the gamifying of the shopping experience. If you've configured a car, if you've configured a boat or anything, cabinets online, you've done these type of experiences. As far as being informative, the 3D model gives you more information about the product on the spot. You can see interior workings of a product, exploded views, those type of things. The intuitivity of this is the world is 3D, so people think and experience in 3 dimensions. As we're seeing 3D become ubiquitous on our phones, on our tablets, on our PCs and Macs, you come to expect that. And the usefulness really comes into, by displaying content in augmented reality, you can see how a product would fit into your house or into your kitchen or bath. So when we talked about the Overstock experience, for them, it was about starting to get all of their 3D content enabled so you could create those type of experiences, okay? The big push that we're seeing for consumer accessibility is mainly in travel, tourism, and real estate. So the 360 experience you saw earlier that you're probably really used to, that is the most consumer accessible. Everybody can view it on their tablet, their phones, and people are creating content on their own with those tools from Facebook and others. Augmented reality is really, you're seeing a really big push into retail consumer products, and you saw in the other video in manufacturing. Today, we're really not going to go into the VR and MR because this is the sweet spot. This is where the brands are creating applications for you to use, okay? So in that video, they talked about the top 5 areas of investment: manufacturing, construction, retail. Those are all places within the NKBA that are really important. They are in the top 5. There was 20 on that list. These are the top uses. What's happening is companies like Snap, Instagram, Facebook, they're really driving the consumer AR, the market adoption. So they're training you and your users already. Just yesterday, Instagram came out with anyone can make their own augmented reality effects. Okay, if you're doing anything with emojis or anything of your face, you're using augmented reality and you don't even know it, possibly. What's really been driving this is companies like Amazon, Overstock, Facebook, Google, the Wayfarers, is they're digitizing all their products into 3D, okay? Big reason for this is a huge number. $360 billion was returned in 2017, returned. And because the number is 22%, see that it looks different from the online store. Digital interactions have a big influence. So if you do colorization, if you can look at in 3D as opposed to 2D, this is a huge ROI for these companies. So when you see IKEA placing this, and many of you may have done virtual shopping and dropped furniture in your living room, the same thing is happening in the kitchen and bath industry, okay? 40% of the consumers, hold on, let me, online shopping consumers will pay more for an item if they saw it in AR first. They also look at companies that innovate. So the shoppers prefer the shop that stores that offer AR. So this is really becoming consumer driven from the Facebooks, the Googles, the others who are enabling this technology. And then the color change, the style, and others are happening. Now, this year, there's 500 million AR compatible smartphones, iOS and Android, okay? In the next few years, that is going to go up 6 to 7 times, okay? So the technology is in your pocket. We're going to focus on augmented reality and go into the differentiation and get more of an understanding of what AR is. So I mentioned earlier about 3D models. Typically, if you don't model them like we've done with Overstock, you have to import them from the CAD, the computer aided design model. And then you can combine that with home building data and create an interactive experience. So it could be a kiosk experience, it could be online, it could be in an augmented reality. So going to a smartphone, tablet, or the stereo glasses, smart glasses would be the next step. And then you're overlaying augmenting data over a physical data. So many of you, whether you're using iOS or Android, already have AR that's been built into your phone within the with the measure tool. So this comes pre-built on the iOS. Android, you have to download it because different hardware manufacturers are out there, but they have the same app. It's called Measure. And many of you may not be aware of this, but it's right in your phone, and it's fairly accurate. What's good about it too is through artificial intelligence and be able to understand a picture. You'll see that if I look at this picture, it will give me the size right here. So it measures it, gives you real-time information. So these are tools you already have and you may not even realize, okay? So now we're going to get into augmented reality, and it really is focused in 3 distinct unique forms. There's information overlay. We'll go into examples on that. There's digital packaging, and then there's virtual objects, okay? So if anybody has done like the 19 Crimes example, or if you've seen anything in the bourbon and the whiskey industry, and these augmented reality experiences are being really pushed by CPG companies, the spirits industry, recipes. So when you look through your phone, it recognizes an image, and it's creating content around that image. So this is really where a lot of consumers are adopting the technology, viewing it from their phone, and be able to do recipes and other pieces. So that piece was really, stop this. That's what we call digital packaging. So it's just enabling content over a 2D object, okay? The same goes for if you've seen any magazine articles where they are AR enabled. So you view it from your tablet or your phone, and all this information, this 3D information pops up. So you could have cabinets, you could have bathrooms, kitchen designs, any of this pop up in real time and be able to view around the object just by looking at a 2D piece of content, okay? So those are two examples of digital packaging. Taking 2D content or a magazine or a label, for example, and turning it into a 3D object. What we're starting to work with is being able to go into, these are virtual objects. So I'm going to go through artwork, sofa, chair, carpeting in this example. This is in one of our offices where we're placing video, we're placing artwork on the wall, we're placing a piece of furniture in the environment, we're changing the colors, we're adding another chair that's coming up, okay? And then adding a final shot of, here's some carpeting. So if any of you have been using IKEA or other applications, this is really the big push from people that have in the furniture industry are accessorizing their home, their product. So you can visualize that in 3D. Again, the second piece is really virtual objects. So this is really good because I like what they've done. Oops, let me go full screen here. Okay. Sorry about that. So this is a really good example for the kitchen and bath industry where you're using virtual objects. You're being able to configure this. You can change the colors. You can change fixtures in this. You can go into different examples. So what's great about what they've done here is here again, virtual object. I'm going to place it in my room, place it on the floor. It recognizes the floor. And then you go into configuration. So this ties right into a configurator, a back-end system, a sales order process. And so Corey and I think they've done a real good job with a company that's actually based here in Detroit called Mackivision. So these companies work with a lot of the ad agencies and the brands to create these experiences. The third piece of augmented reality is really information overlay. So a few years ago, when the iOS, the AR kit, the authoring system for augmented reality for Apple came out, we started working in the kitchen and bath industry with GE appliances. And what we looked at is how can we create this immersive showroom, in this case at Ferguson showrooms, on their product. And with the IoT, the connected appliances, how do you show the salespeople, how do you show the consumers the benefits of the technology of integrating smart homes, smart furnishings, and integrating that together. So we developed a proof of concept with them for a couple of the Ferguson showrooms, which is going to be, they should be in 60 different showrooms by the end of this year. So what it does, it enables the salespeople or the or consumer just come in, use the tablet that's right there, go through the instructions, learn about the kitchen, learn about connected appliances, integrating it with devices like Siri or Alexa or any of the other products like this. So these are examples that it's just information overlay. Okay, so you have a physical environment and you're informing the consumer or the salesperson how to interact and get information about the product and the use. Okay. One other area that we're seeing a big push in information overlay is being able to go in real time. And this is something that we have in proof of concept right now, is being able to just take your phone, go into a room and start laying down whatever flooring that you want, okay? So what's happening is we're calculating square feet or square meters in real time. It's recognizing where the wall ends. So you're getting an approximation of this. So this is now done, this is through iOS or Android phones. We can rotate it. So we're rotating it with our fingers here. We're being able to apply different materials. We can go to wood, to formica, to any material that you have. And the quality is fairly good. We can get up to 4K. Now, what we're starting to work with is like real light. So understanding the environment. And this is where technology, like artificial intelligence, come in. Now, that's not very pleasant, that flooring right there. But we wanted to show this to demonstrate right there where lighting has an effect in the room. So you could be in your home showing it in the daytime in the brightest light, and then you could automatically look at, okay, what is it at 9 p.m. in the evening? This is understanding where you are and where the sun is, and we're able to apply lighting conditions over an augmented environment. So it's pretty exciting with what's happening with the technology. And I think the best use case that I've seen in the market from a 2D configuration standpoint and a 3D is Cambria. So Cambria has Dragon Vision, which is their 2D configurator online. I think it's very, very powerful in what they've done, being able to have the consumer or the salesperson go through many different varieties, and you'll see here with Dragon Vision. So this is all 2D. This is not augmented reality, but they take the same data and apply it to their next tool that I will be showing. So they have an augmented reality tool that you can go into your room, your kitchen, your bath, and apply all the Cambria content overlaid, okay? So what they've done really good here is the comparison. So as we get into, different colors, the mixing and matching that you see, being able to slide from one side to the next, from one style that I like, I can slide this back and forth. I think they've done an excellent job in developing a 2D configurator that can really get people creating thousands of different scenarios in different colors. So it's not just their Cambria line. It's the color of the paint, the color of the floors, the color of the cabinets. So integrating all of that. If you look at what they've done with augmented reality, similar to the demonstration that I showed where it showed the flooring app, this is a little bit different because what we're doing here is we're looking at our island, we're scanning it at this point, so it has to understand what is my surface. So it's just giving, what is my plane going to look at? Then you're picking points on the edges of it. So you're getting the rectangle, and then you're going to be applying, the different colors of the Cambria. So in real time, you can be doing this at home. And these are things that most of these brands are developing for the consumer, for the salespeople to use. So if you're into this space, you're probably using some of these tools. I'd love to hear, if you are, at the end, if it's been successful. But I think the Cambria, between their Dragon Vision, between their Cambria AR, have done a great job. So today, really, we've just touched on 360 media, where it's photo and video. We've went into extended reality, understanding a little bit about, really focused on augmented reality, mixed and virtual. That's for another day, really. I think the big piece about augmented reality is everybody can do this on their phone, tablet, okay? And then the last piece is really understanding the three areas that we demonstrated: information overlay, digital packaging, and virtual objects. And they all fall under the augmented reality umbrella. What the future is it's really the fourth transformation. It's moving from a technology of what we carry on our phones to what we wear. So in the next 1 to 3 years, you're going to see Apple and others coming out with Oakley-sized glasses that are augmented reality content within your environment. Whether you choose to use that or not, I know a lot of there's technology averse people out there, but and sometimes it's way too much information in real time. So, but this is where the industry is going. We're seeing this in our automotive, in our aviation clients, and now in consumer products. We'd like to thank Kohler for sponsoring this. What I'd like to do is hand this over to Debbie to send out the polling questions and open this up for any questions that you may have. Thank you.
Okay, we'll get the polling started then. So here we go.
So Deb, you need to take control here? Oh, okay.
I don't think so.
Okay.
We're getting some results in.
And then you will pull up the polling questions? Okay.
Yep. So people are still answering, so I'm going to give them that opportunity. Okay, so I'm going to close this poll. Should be seen on the screen here now. Can you see it, David? You may not be able to see it since you're sharing the screen. Should I bring this back to me, perhaps?
Yeah, you want to try that?
Yes.
Okay. So I stop sharing?
You can. Okay. So hopefully everyone can see the poll results. Can you see that, David?
Yes, I can. Mm-hmm.
Okay, good. Were all the questions answered? Or just the one?
No, do you see them?
I can't see them.
Oh, you can't. Okay. So, so on question one, have you or your company implemented new technology? And 25% yes, 32% no, and no answer. So it's split. So if we cut those, it's probably a 50-50, a little less than that, 27 and 32. So the reason we ask this is, different industries are slow to adapt or adopt new technology, whether that's investment cost or, complexity of a technology. What's happening with, and Deb, can everybody hear me?
Yes.
Okay, so what's happening in the past 2 years is with augmented reality is the cost to create and these experiences. No, it doesn't need to be 3D. So these augmented reality experiences, like a 2D print campaign, for example, authoring that and publishing it could take a half a day. Okay, so there's no coding skills or little coding skills like it was 2 years ago when Android and iOS, when they came out with their authoring tools. You had to be a coder. What's happening is just like mobile websites or websites in general, anybody can build a website now. 20 years ago you couldn't. Now it's drag and drop. Well, that's the simplicity that's starting to happen within the industry. It's not as easy as the mobile, but as you're looking into augmented reality, the cost of the point of entry is very low. It can be very low, especially when you do 2D. Okay. So the next question.
Yep,
Next
we're in the
polling.
process of that. Can you see that? Or I've actually got
No.
this one coming up, so hold on a
Okay.
second.
So it looked like we had statistics from the previous slide that you had. We had them for all 3 questions.
Oh, we did? Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I've got this other one out here, so
Okay.
just give it a second here. Another minute or two, if you don't mind. So I wasn't sure what you were seeing. Okay, I'm going to close this question.
Okay, and do we have results?
We're going to post it here in 1 second. Just need to have it close out. It takes a minute or two to close it. Okay, here we go. Here we go. We're going to apply that. Now, can you see the results?
Mm-hmm.
All right.
So about half the audience answered. 25. So 25 said yes. So we're at 24 to 17%. The other half has not answered. So the reason, what's happening is the brands, some of the examples I showed you, they are developing these tools. And because there's, the success of quickly being able to accelerate the sales process or visualize, we see a lot of examples like what GE had done. Like, so how can they enable a kitchen and bath showroom, by using 3D or 2D technologies, whether that's a kiosk, whether that's an iPad, to really enable the sales process. So we know this is moving forward rapidly just because what we're seeing in with Overstock, with IKEA and Wayfair, for example, that the next piece is really the kitchen and bath industry. I know that at Coverings and at KBIS, I saw a lot of virtual reality experiences in some of the events that I've gone to on the show floor. But that doesn't hit the mass consumers. If it's in their pocket, in their hand, that is the fastest adoption. That's why we looked at 360s in the beginning that people are familiar with, and then some augmented reality apps or experiences that you're already using. Okay, so there's going to be a huge uptick in retail, as Rory said in her video, going from 16 billion investment to nearly 150 billion by 2022. And then have any of these tools helped you improve? So I'd like to hear, it would be good to hear what's happening in the market, because we're really a technology and experience provider. We're not on the front lines every day. We don't know the pain points that customers have, and if these are really efficient uses. So of the people that answered, it looks like the ones that have used visualization tools have seen, it's almost like a 5-to-1 improvement that this has enabled. Visualization has enabled their sales process. So it would be good to hear a little bit more details on, what good experiences you've had and also poor experiences.
Okay, so David, I'm not sure if you could see that final poll question.
Yep.
Okay, good. All right, so there's so one person said that they have started to use VR. Someone says they're sure that it would help if they used it. And someone's asking this question, is AR something you foresee designers adding to their websites, for example, with e-design?
Yes, I mean, we're already seeing it. I'm working locally with a design studio here in Detroit area, and really understanding which, a lot of these companies, they're fearful of investment and like, what is going to be my return? And that's why if we can simplify that, there's a number of tools that Autodesk or Bentley or other companies are coming out with that are enabling. Adobe, when I was at Augmented World Expo this was in June in Silicon Valley, when Adobe comes out with their authoring solution next year, it's going to transform the industry and really accelerate it. And it goes back to what I talked earlier, is low code or no code, being able to develop these yourself or with the help of a partner. Okay, so we're looking at, what is the fastest way, templatizing these experiences for the industry. Okay, does that answer your question?
I think so.
Okay.
Let's see, someone was asking earlier about the different apps. They said, thank you. Someone, hang on a second. So there's something else here I want to add to this. This person says, I get hired because my clients don't visualize as well. So these tools help give them power to understand their design. But I really want to see more tools in companies be more affordable and available from more product companies.
So if I understand that question, like Cambria is, what they want to do is they want to enable their distributors to, show their products, okay, and visualize their products more effectively. So what I've seen is the brands are making these investments because if one brand can do it over another, the designer really doesn't have to really develop anything themselves. I mean, they have to learn the tool and be able to visualize with the brands that they're working with, whether that's a cabinet company or a flooring company. But this is, today was really that this is where the industry is going. And after the event, Deb's going to send out, some apps that are out there for the home improvement industry that are free, that are affordable, that you can use, and use them how you see fit in the industry. So if you go to the Google or the Apple store, there's a variety of really good ones out there. And I think even in the video where that we started out with, Rory had talked about these tools enabling, so it's when you say my clients don't visualize as well, these are things that you can help your clients with and enable visualization, in their environment, in real time, or in the showroom.
Great. Okay, so we're still taking questions. We have a few more minutes left. If anyone has other questions, as David mentioned, I do have that handout that I'll send to you along with the recording and evaluation survey tomorrow. So there's quite a few. He's got quite a list, so that's a good thing to know. Here's another question. Sometimes learning curve can be hard to overcome. Are there any classes that you can recommend?
There are there's VR ARA. So if you went to the VR, I'll put that in there, the VRARA.com. So it's the Virtual Reality Augmented Reality Association. They have, I think it's the THE. If you went to that website, there are, so I think there's 60 different chapters around the globe. Most major cities have them. They have, there's meetups. So if you look at meetups out there in your local market, I know in Detroit, we work with the AEC, Architectural Engineering Construction Firms. We do one major event per year with them and how they're using augmented, mixed, and virtual reality. But a good resource is the VRARA.com.
Okay, great. Sorry, I think I typed that in wrong, so it's,
Yeah.
But we'll look that up. If you want to type it in, you're more than welcome.
Okay.
Thank you. Okay, that's good information. Thank you for that, David. Are there any other questions before we wrap for the day? Because we want to make sure that we address your questions, but you also don't want to take up too much of your time either. So if there aren't any more questions, I'll give it another couple of seconds here, and we'll wrap it up for the day. Thank you, David, for that information. So it's THE, the VRARA.com, just for some of those that can't see this. Let me put it out there to the whole group. There's some interesting information out there for people that are looking for more training on this. Okay, so David, I'm not seeing any more questions.
Okay.
I'm not sure if everybody's spellbound, they might be, but I want to thank you so much. And once again, I want to thank Kohler for generously sponsoring today's webinar session. I hope everyone has a great day. David, thank you again for your time.
Okay. Thank you, everybody.
Bye-bye.
Have a great day. Bye-bye.
You too.